won't publish taking for us really. But it's the February 10th meeting of the Shrewsbury Development Corporation. And want to welcome our new member, Gayashi Natarajan. Sorry, apologies for that. So, welcome aboard. Can we just do a quick round the table introductions of each other, and then that'd be nice. Can I start? So, you want me to start?
Sure. You're the captain of the ship.
Fair enough. I'm Chris McGoldrick. I'm the Director of Planning and Economic Development. So I provide the staff position for this group, help with administrative tasks, the day-to-day work, and available at the work through the planning office, but available 24/7 to help with any kind of questions, concerns related to this. So I think I sent off some emails with some of the introductory materials, but happy to set aside time whenever to meet and talk through things as we go. So
I'm Thomas Bodden. Know me. I'm a commercial real estate broker in Worcester. Grew up in Shrewsbury. But, still live in Shrewsbury with my wife. First year on the board, and apparently I'm a treasurer this year. So because we needed someone to have the role.
Better you do math than me.
I have not done any math yet. That's where we're at.
Mel Ciacciaroni. I've lived in Shrewsbury on and off since 1977. Married to a Shrewsbury High grad, and 3 kids are all graduates of the high school. I was St. John's. And I'm a lawyer by trade, and I work with a family real estate business based out of Worcester.
I'm Gayatri. I am the CFO of an insurance company, and I've lived in this town for 10 years now. I have 2 kids, one in elementary and one in middle school, and this is my first time in sitting in a public office in a meeting like this, so I'm very excited about it.
My name's Lee Ebdell. It's also my first year on the board. It's also his first year on the board. So the 3 of us are all new.
All of our
All
first year
4
on
of
the
us.
board,
Now 4 of us.
Except the old timer.
No, you were on 2 before. Yeah. So
Oh,
4
I
of us
didn't
are all new.
actually-
Yeah. So we're all going to be learning together. I have been in town for 14 years and have a middle schooler and an elementary school as well. And my day gig is that I do economic development for the town of Clinton. So,
I am Julie Holstrom. I've been living in Shrewsbury now for I think 8 years. I have 1 daughter. My husband and I have 1 daughter. She's in middle school and gives us a run for our money every day. I work for the Worcester Business Development Corporation.
I'm Steve Walsh. I'm a lifelong Shrewsbury resident. I was born with, no, not that old, but maybe that old. I'm retired from a multinational corporation. I worked in their real estate development and engineering department. So I've been all over the world looking at real estate and getting buildings built.
Mhm.
I have 1 wife, 2 daughters, and 4 granddaughters. So I have nothing but women in my life.
You
How's that
lucky
working for
guy.
you?
Huh?
You're so
lucky.
lucky.
I am a lucky
You're
guy.
lucky.
You are blessed up and down.
But yes, and I'm one of the old timers. Probably old, how long have you been on the board? 4 years? 5 years? Second term? 2 terms?
I think this is my second term here.
I think I'm with you. 2 terms for me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So good to meet you.
Great to meet you.
Same. So with that, and with the vacancy for the president position, we have 3 positions: treasurer, president, and vice president.
So Richard resigned.
Yeah,
He was up for
reappointment.
Yeah, and I thought he was doing another year as a transition period, essentially. So did he just like?
Yeah, so he was interested in that, but by reappointment. Got it. So
He's no longer.
Got it.
So, we have to do reorganization this evening, at least for the, president position. But, have to run that however, so, just as a reminder for that, it is a nomination and then a second, and then vote for that, so.
No one jumps up.
Well, I can't do both.
Yeah. I just feel like I'm still very much trying to get my arms around exactly what we're doing and what the mission of this thing is, so I don't feel that that would be appropriate for me to captain the ship.
Look at me, I'm on another board. I think, my own opinion, I think you need to get some new blood. That was the reason why the Shrewsbury Development Corp, once we got South Street done, we kind of just, I don't even know what happened to us.
Kind of went into remission a little bit.
We went into hiding for about 2.5 years. But now with this new emphasis on, development and, really looking somehow to put the Economic Development Corp together so that we can promote Shrewsbury, I think you need new blood. I mean, myself, but
And Nicole's not here, but Nicole's running for select board, and if she wins, then she's out, so
Is that a conflict?
isn't that a conflict?
Right, yeah, there's two boards.
Am I conflicted?
is why.
Planning board.
Planning board.
Oh.
I can't because I'm on the.
I enjoy
You and I
it.
just had
I'm on the DP, I'm on the DPW.
So, hi, welcome, would you like to?
You're now president. Yeah, congratulations.
So,
You've been nominated.
just so I understand, like, what are some of the responsibilities of the president?
Perfect. Yeah, that's a good start. I'll give a little bit about my insight in terms of what I think the role of, SDC.
So like ended up planning, being in charge of the SDCA, I left the room, I went to the bathroom, I came back, and they were like, here's a crown, and I'm like, what happened? So no, let's talk about this.
Yeah, so I mean, really the president position is, just like the chair of any board, really kind of works with us to make sure that, we have the agenda set. I think staff will be doing the bulk of the administrative work, but it's really just meant to, help run the meeting. So, in terms of, calling a meeting to order, taking motions and seconds, for, votes and actions of the board, just generally keeping us to the agenda, and running through that procedure is the kind of role of the president. And we obviously support that. So, Julie's aware of for our process with the planning board, we typically meet with the chair, or in this case, the president, when we come up with the draft agenda, just to make sure that we're all set. And then kind of run through those items, to make sure that we have our tasks all set. So when we get to the meeting, it's all kind of smooth, runs well. So, I think that's kind of the ask for it. I don't think it would be a heavy lift in terms of,
At this point, with
our commitment.
we're not doing anything, so it's basically just running the meetings.
Right, and I
And
think
confirming agenda items and stuff.
exactly, yeah. And I think, in terms of the role of projects, I think the economic plan that we've been undertaking is probably gonna be the bulk of what we're working on in the near term. And again, I think a lot of the staff support will be, providing a lot of that, but we'll be looking to the, SDC for input, obviously along the way, and for guidance. So I think I see this group kind of acting a little bit as the steering committee for that, that activity. So I think that's kind of the role. So we should just be helping us to reach out to members and make sure that, that we're all on the same page as we go. So.
All right, so between the six of us, the three of you can't be the president.
Right.
And then I just like, for
And
the
you
first
just-
time walked in here,
Well,
so
I-
I'm.
I-
gonna-
Just for reference, Lee, Mel, and I, this is only our third meeting, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's
And one
not
had
like we're all
pneumonia, and I was
that-
like hallucinating in and out, and so,
Yeah.
And I still don't know what I don't know.
yeah,
You got straws?
I would say, I mean,
Yeah, Julie, you give us that.
Julie, please.
no, I
Girl,
really
girl.
have zero business doing that.
No, I would like to
But-
empower you with that.
But, I mean, it's a title. It's not, like, if there is any questions that are coming up, it's not like people are gonna be like, no, that's on you. I'm not answering that. Like,
Like, there's no real roles or
there's no real
responsibilities.
roles and responsibilities. I think we're all here to get the work done and,
As a board.
and
Yeah.
you just need it's in title only, really, right? Like, the rest of it is just, we're here to like roll up our sleeves and get it done. So, I mean, for what that's worth.
No, that's really appreciated.
Who's the vice president?
We don't have.
We don't have one of those either.
I think, yeah.
Oh, is she?
So if she gets
For now.
elected, then what? We have to go back and get another vice president?
You gotta go get another person to fill her spot too, right?
Right.
It's not
Who will make
conflicting
it?
all over the day.
Oh, so the vice president is
So
not
you
here
won't be,
today.
so you won't be the newest person.
Yeah. If she
Congratulations.
wins, won't be him.
You're not at the end of
I'm
the
going
line at the
against- I'm going
grocery
against the
store.
call.
We all just keep moving up.
Oh, wow.
Yes. The line just keeps moving. Oh my God. Well, okay. You're
Now, when is
just
that
in the
window?
like stand up. How long is this for? Like a year?
Yeah, I mean, if we
Yeah.
find someone who wants to take it, we can always reorganize it at any time. but-
I just got myself extracted from up the street so I could catch my breath for 10 minutes and like meet my children again. And then this, I'm gonna be really blunt. Well, but isn't part of this as the, like, you brought up a good point the last meeting of like, okay, so this economic plan, this RFP goes out and yes, there'll have to be some input on it, but by and large, they have till the end of the year to give a report. So like, what are we doing for the next year while we wait for that report? Like,
Yeah.
so there is something to be done beyond, just to be very blunt, beyond like making a motion. We have to make a motion of what we do, like why we're here, right? Is that bluntly fair to say?
I go home to my wife, tell her, even though it's in name only. Only because I rolled up a couple other things not town related. I will do it in a year again, and give me some time, but if I just,
Yeah,
Somebody wants to be the chair of the planning board, then I would be more than happy to.
No,
I feel like that
no.
has actually
you're beautiful and you're great.
Just stay where you are. You like it?
Happy to do that.
Sure.
I nominate Lee Abdullah.
I second it.
Let's vote on it now.
Now we're
before she
friends.
decides. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
now we're
Yes,
friends.
let's do it.
Yeah, okay.
So who calls the vote? Are you calling the vote then?
Yeah, all in favor.
Right. You're a good person. Just remember that.
Having the sub notes enthusiastically accepts.
I would like it noted on Thursday morning if we have a meeting up the street when I'm like show up in a bathrobe and I'm like, when I said I was out, I'm really out. Like, okay.
I promise to keep the responsibilities light. So that is.
Well, and to your point, like, your point, Julie, on this is like, we're all coming and meeting and rolling up our sleeves and doing the work together. And then outside of the meeting, like, I don't really think we're.
You're just stuck talking to Chris for a hot minute. It's fine.
And Chris is gonna be like, you need to leave. And I'm like, but I'm a consultant. I can be here any time of day. He's like, get out. There's a picture of me by the door. They're like, don't let her in. Yeah, but I mean, I do think we have to like, find out what we do, right?
Yeah.
Like, what we should decide that.
That's fair. I think some of these other items will probably start to delve into that. But to that point, for the next meeting, I can put on, that we'll have like a visioning session for that.
Yeah.
And we did a little bit with some of the select board members, but I think kind of revisiting that would be.
I think it might be helpful to get some directives specifically from the select board.
Yes.
Since they really spearheaded putting this together, and I think
Yeah.
recruiting a number of us
That's a very good point.
to come
I
and do this.
totally agree. I thought they were that they would come to these
I
meetings because
agree.
like the first one where I was
More
with
in
Oz on the
this-
screen, like weren't Beth and Teresa at that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that would be good for like our next meeting. Can we do like a joint meeting with them or like a something?
Tell us what to
like
do.
that? Tell us what you.
I think there's one that's assigned to each one, like,
Correct.
like the one you're on the planning board, do you have anybody that you go, like I'm working on the DPW building and the renovation of this. Beth is our contact and our person on the select board she's on the committee. Now, is there anybody like that for this?
I thought, that's why I think Beth and Teresa are.
I thought Teresa was,
Economic Development Working Group thing.
are they?
Yeah.
So Teresa would be, or Beth, or
I
both?
believe it's Beth and Teresa are the two that are directed to this board, yeah.
So how does everybody feel about asking if they would come and talk to us about
I love it.
big picture?
I think it's
Goals or-
important, though, to make sure that we are distinguishing, like, it's the Economic Development Working Group. If they have a mission that they are looking to drive, I think we need to collectively, in this organization, it is separate
Mhm.
from
Yeah,
the Board of Selectmen. We do not report that, like, right? We do not,
Yeah.
we are not
we're not taking orders from them.
correct. So I
Yeah.
think we just need to be very careful about how that, like, I think
The
it's
optics of how
important.
that looks.
I think it's important to get their feedback
Yeah.
and say, like, this is what, from a selectman point of view, this is what we're looking at. And then we can sit down and say, okay, based on that, here's what we think
Mhm.
we should be driving towards. And, you know that they're going to be complementary to each other,
Yeah,
but just to make,
no, to
make it
no,
clear,
that
right?
is, yeah, that it's an autonomous.
Cool, and I think that makes a lot of sense. It just, I think it seemed like there was a lot of momentum to like make this start again. And it seemed like
Then
there
it
was a
like-
reason to do that and not just like a, hey, let's fill the board and then we
Not-
just sit here with a whiteboard for 6 hours and say,
Yeah.
well, what do we want to do with Shrewsbury, right? So I think getting maybe some, like
Yeah,
feedback
some
on their
guidance.
Yeah,
thoughts.
some guy.
And then we can take it and build from there would be good.
Exactly.
But I know we were saying the other day, we're like, what are we doing?
Exactly. What are we doing? Not to boil it down, make it too rudimentary, but like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't it make sense that, like, you can say that the select board is kind of the big picture type stuff, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then this board would be more in the weeds, getting a little bit more granular on some of those big picture.
That's fair.
But by our charter, we're separate.
Correct,
Correct.
Yes, exactly, yeah, we're,
100%.
We need to keep that in mind.
Exactly.
yes.
The select person, or whoever is there, is advisory to us on what we need to do, along with that economic development people.
Well, and I
We
think
have to at the end of the year, we have to put together something, and you have to sign something along with the treasurer and
Oh,
everybody else.
great. I'm signing stuff now. It's all a very slippery slope here.
I think
Um,
we're on the same page when we do this. I don't
I
think
look
we're
great in
looking for
orange.
this for every single meeting to have a
No.
select board member being
No.
like, here, do this. I think this is our third meeting. The
Yeah.
first meeting, it was like, hi, nice to meet everyone. Last meeting, we talked about doing like the survey.
RFP for the,
Yeah, the RFP,
Mhm.
and then, but other than that, there's no real direction, and so if there could just be some sort of like, I guess, grander
yeah,
kickoff
like we brought
that we
this
could
group
then
back
take
together and
to
filled
do
it.
the, and maybe, so keep it separate, but just have more of a,
Well, yeah, we
kick off
can't
the
go
meeting.
just wandering off by whatever and not understand the bigger vision for the town. That's. Do you want to go down your agenda or do you want to like?
Yeah.
Because my next question was about to be about a master plan.
Yeah, so I think we'll run through the agenda, but, just to finish that off from the discussion, I think the best next steps, that I can do is that I'll put on next agenda and have a visioning session. We can have a deeper conversation of that. And in between that time, I'll coordinate with town manager's office of, what the most appropriate way to solicit some opinion from select board members would be, in terms of what they see for our vision. So. Directives, so.
One other thing that we talked about last time, that I might be like mentioned in here, kind of vaguely or whatever, was about having a conversation with Marlboro or Falmouth or somebody else who's got a real
I sent it.
kick in EDC. Like how they fund it and like what they do and kind of take some inspiration from them. Didn't we have that conversation about
They
like,
did, and I grabbed the RFP from them, because I said I was talking to someone in Marlboro,
Mhm.
and so they gave us an RFP sample that they used that I had sent, and I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
Was it a link?
No, I sent it either to Chris or someone.
Yeah. Yeah, what I'll do is, we were kind of focused on the RFP for this round, but, I know we did have that conversation. I do over that, the numbers, so I will reach out to Falmouth and Marlboro too. I think we were talking about seeing if they would come in and just kind of meet with us to have a conversation of what they do and how they, kind of what their kind of goals are and see what we can.
how they
kind of
generate
pull from
funding.
that. Right. That was the funding, yeah.
I guess one last thing on that, if we keep it around the thing, but it had me thinking, as it relates to the delivery of information, I know you had mentioned something about it last time, but like, just, like, I still don't have access to the link that was sent, and I requested the day it came and whatever, and so I don't know if there's a way where we could like give permissions permanently to certain emails.
Mhm.
But like my work email, I guess, isn't linked to Gmail, so then I have to go through my personal email, and it's like not happy. And then also, maybe I was the only one, but like when I got the email about the information, I was like, oh yeah, we're having that meeting. Like there was
Yeah,
nothing in
I think
between, and it
a
kind of surprised
pretty
me.
standard 1 week or week and a half out reminder
Yeah, it
of
would be nice.
would be good.
Yeah, so with that, it won't give me access to it, unfortunately. Yeah. So my laptop, it's T.
That has all of our meeting feeds on there. But I also. Yeah, but I didn't.
Just like calendar, like invite.
Yeah,
just
even
send a
even
reminder.
calendar invite, like
Just
a week and a half
auto-
out, and
exactly.
then whenever the minutes are, like, if it's
Yeah.
not ready until it's, it's not ready until it's ready, that's fine. But it's just
But
like,
it would, no, I agree. It would
just getting a
be-
little bump ahead of time or something, and then, yeah.
Yeah.
And then-
Just like the standard protocol for any other board.
Yeah, weekly.
Yeah, that'll be good.
We send out a monthly look ahead. Actually, the year
And then-
look ahead.
Yeah,
did
but then
send
she
out
was
a-
moving April because it's during April school vacation. So yeah, we're gonna move the April meeting.
Right, that was something that popped up and it was the middle of a vacation. I think it was April.
Yeah, it was April because it was April school vacation and.
Right.
Yeah, but just, I think getting a reminder and getting docs ahead of time so we can review it. I can do that. Super helpful.
All right,
I'm done interrupting.
keep it coming. All right, so
On the minutes review and approve minutes for January 13th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes
Second.
Okay.
On January 13th,
of January 13th
2020.
of 2025.
That's Saturday.
Second.
I know that she says that.
Did you hear from part of it?
That was Jackie's.
Oh, that was when you had to go to the concert. Oh, yes, all right, thought about you. Yeah, sorry about that.
All in favor? Please.
All in favor?
All in favor? I'm gonna need, this is why I didn't want to do this. Everybody who's in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All the nays? Okay, I'm just doing a Jim Kane there. I'm
Well,
just-
and then you are supposed to say abstentions, and Julia's gonna
And-
abstain.
And Julie's abstaining. And you have to abstain because you weren't here.
Yep.
So they're
Yes.
approved.
Yeah.
I'm just saying stuff. It just, everyone visit me in
Just use the
Dan,
keywords.
everyone visit me in Danbury. And this goes sideways, I will. All right, next thing. What are we doing?
5A, so this is reviewing the economic development plan, final scope of work and timeline. So I think the Google version formatted terribly, but I did also include the PDF. So That is the final, RFP that was published, so that's.
So it has been published. It
Has
did
been
go out.
published,
Okay.
it's out, it was just Friday that it went out, so. It's out there, feel free to distribute that, that's, I want to get a lot of good, input onto that, but, we developed that, so the scope of work is largely what we looked at, with some minor kind of adjustments that, our procurement, officer Jeff Goodman helped us with, so. He
What's
took
the
that
due date?
scope. It is March.
March 5th or 15th, just 5 in it. March 15th.
So I have a question.
Yep.
Was this drafted, like, did you guys use the Marlboro RFP at all as reference, or like, was this just totally?
I think so. The procurement officer had his kind of draft that he works from. He took the scope that we had developed and put that in there as well. So
Well, this is a document we went over last meeting, right? Did
Yeah.
we all went over it?
Yeah.
the scope of work is, but and then
Yeah, we don't-
they have like their boilerplate.
Yeah, there's all the-
RFP stuff.
Yeah.
So
28 pages.
but the scope is in there. So pretty extensive. We're looking for a lot. I did proactively reach out to the funding source that we had, UHED, and ask for that extension, the contract extension funds.
UHED.
Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development. So there's
How is that UHED?
EO.
EOD, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, anyways, yes.
So this is funding from a bond bill, I believe it was 2022 bond bill. So we've extended that out now to, June 30th, 2026. But the timeline we put was December 2025. So we think through the year, we should be able to get through, the bulk of this. So, end of March, we'll have the RFPs back. We have, I think we gave I don't think we left it open-ended, but we'll, come back to this group with those, consultants. We do have that evaluation process. I anticipate we'll have one that's picked, but we'll send all that material to SDC members, soliciting some input on the consultants that reply. And then we'll select a consultant, based on that evaluation criteria that's outlined there. So looking to really kind of keep that momentum, and keep moving with this. So, with that, in March, I think, most likely having a consultant selected certainly by the end of March. And we're kind of starting in April, but, again, we'll kind of refine that timeline once the consultant's selected.
I have a question
Yeah.
for you. Two questions.
Yeah.
One, do you feel confident that the scope that we've presented in there is going to be able to be paid for with the funds that we have?
We're asking a lot. I do think that it is, so we have the, just shy of 120,000. The way I kind of estimated that, was basing it off of, generally comprehensive master plans, of which this would be a piece, run about 200,000. So with that, I think we have enough given what we're asking, but that is part of, with the price proposal process. And we do have the not to exceed 120, so we are upfront about that is the amount, so.
Is there any thought of like, sorry, have you or the rest of the town considered any potential one-stop applications this year?
To dovetail with this?
And if not, should we consider additional planning dollars? Potentially
Yeah.
to either
To supplement?
do like phase 2 of this study or to, excuse me, then look at, implementation plan. Because I think that could also work really well, knowing that you apply for it now, we'll have a report by December.
And the
make
second
the-
ball of money come
They
in.
make the award announcements in October, so you could essentially like get your report in December and be ready to roll right into the implementation plan.
So
Just as a.
the one stop that she's mentioning is like this portal, a state funding portal that if you have a project and you're not exactly, and you're looking for grant funding for it, tell me if I'm explaining this correctly. You're not quite sure where it fits. You put it in, you submit it, and they spit it back and say, it does qualify for this program or that program.
Yeah, that's-
Like an underutilized properties program or a vacant storefront program or a brownfield mitigation program. Is that a fair summary? of
Yeah,
that?
the one stop runs in like two phases, right? The first one is an expression of interest where you kind of, excuse me, float the idea of what you'd like.
I tried to
do.
write one for the first time this morning.
It'll give you a lot.
It's
like
500
characters.
500 characters, not 500 words to explain an entire project. I'm like banging on it like a monkey with a
Yeah.
toy. I'm like, I can't do this.
So that's mine down to 490.
So
Oh, wow.
500 characters, not words.
On the One Stop for Growth, the Commonwealth One Stop for Growth. So it used to
More
be,
growth.
it used to be like the Mass Works or the PVED program, the CDAD program.
Oh.
They got rid of all of those individualized and put them into the One Stop for Growth. So there's two, you do the expression of interest. The expressions of interest are due no later than the end of March. And at that point, it kicks back out, like the state will say, yes, this project makes sense for what you're applying for. Go forward and start your application process. That application is due the beginning
End
of
of June?
Beginning of June. Beginning of June. And then they make the awards in October and you spend your money. But I just think if, I don't know what the town has in mind in terms of applying for grant dollars, like if you're doing like a Mass Works.
Yeah, we're finalizing, the one-stop applications that we're putting in, so I can throw that in.
I was
the mix
running
to
in
see.
for
Yep.
planning.
Yeah, we'll have to see, 'cause we are putting in for the, master plan update, so. we just wanna
Okay.
make sure it doesn't compete, but
Sure,
I think you can throw both in. and-
Yeah, and then let them say, well, you have to choose one.
Right.
And then we can have that.
Absolutely. So, okay.
So in this process, do we have to do any interviewing or anything, or the procurement and you go through the process?
Procurement and staff will do the selection, but we will, I think, solicit input. So we'll give you the responses that we get, likely not the price proposals, but we'll give the kind of.
Resumes.
Correct, yeah, the resumes
For lack of a
and,
better term.
and give that to the board and solicit feedback of what you think is most appropriate.
So you'll interview with procurement, the companies then come to us and say, here's the 2 or 3 that we like.
Correct. I think we did put a date, for presentations, which would be open to the public as well. I think that's in there.
And,
Much.
and to finish what you were just asking, out of the 2 or 3, then the board votes which contractor we would go for. Is that decision something that
That
procurement
decision will be
finance?
with essentially with the town manager.
Okay.
He'll select the consultant.
Okay.
We'll solicit feedback from multiple sources.
Presentation by selected firms. They must present to you. Monday and the following Friday, you're gonna select.
Okay. So that's kind of the timeline, for that, but, moving along at a quick clip. And again, I think even with the extension of the funding, the goal is to really just get that process going. It is gonna dovetail with, the master plan update. I foresee this as being, the bulk of our, economic section for that, and really kind of advising that, so. So, yeah, Okay, so master plan update. We'll into that. So the comprehensive master plan, so as I mentioned, we're gonna be applying for, 200,000 for, comprehensive master plan update, for FY 26. Ours was previously done 2016, so it's just, about a decade old now. The data is starting to get stale. Generally, they have a lifespan or an outlook of 10 to 20 years. So it's time to update that. That will look at a ton of different sections. I put in the prior, the 2016 version to get a feel for what that is. Obviously with that funding coming in, earliest in the fall, this will be a project that usually takes about a year, of, intensive community workshop to complete. So we'll be doing that through, the kind of, 2026, ending, hopefully prior to December 2026,
Sorry, what is the comprehensive
Yeah.
master plan? I
no,
recall.
absolutely, no, and please ask these questions, because I sometimes get wrapped in my, planning field and I forget to get to talk more, about it. So the comprehensive master plan is really meant to be, looking at the town's vision for the next 10 to 20 years. It informs all the sub-plans, so we have, the housing production plan, we'll have this economic plan, and it has, we have a number of other, the open space and recreation plans. So those sub-plans are meant to talk to, the master plan, and likewise, the master plan is meant to talk to those sub-plans. But really it creates a document that says, it's a really kind of in-depth look at the community and where we are today, based on data, based on input, from the community. And then, where do we see ourselves in 10 to 20 years, and what are the tasks? Creates that implementation plan. What are the tasks that we're going to do, to achieve that in 20 years, or 10 years?
It's in the Google Drive that he sent.
I'll go do that.
Yeah, it's like 120 pages. It's like a strategic plan for the town, essentially. And yeah, to Chris's point, it's 10 years old, so we're talking about.
Based off of data, so it's constantly gonna be.
Yeah,
Periodically,
and so we're talking about
periodically it's gonna be.
getting new data and then.
So, yeah, certainly gonna, obviously with the new census data, I think it's really good timing to do that. That's why we generally try to do about 10 years as the, 10-year census comes out. As part of that process, as we look at the implementation plan, usually the first, month or so of that is looking at the implementation plan and going through it and saying, what did we accomplish? What did we miss? What changed? But I wanted to kind of start that process. I'm happy to throw that up here tonight, or work through that, but I'd like to keep this as an item. The SDC is called out in a number of those items, largely in tandem with other groups or organizations to complete some tasks. I did a very brief look through it and did some updating. There's probably more that I can as we dig into it.
Yeah, I didn't know
but
what some of those things meant, that you sent.
Yeah, I think I was trying to just.
Those
throw some things in
abbreviations,
there.
like what those other organizations were. was-
Yeah. Is it helpful for us to kind of run through that and just kind
Yeah, I
of?
think we should do it as a group.
That's kind of.
Just while you're doing that, just a random question. Who are the Shrewsbury participants or whatever the proper term is, for CMRPC?
Sorry,
Pardon?
the planning board delegates.
Yeah, whoever the reps from the town are for the central master
Yeah,
plan.
Perna and Steve were like, this is the other one.
I was just curious.
Yeah, this is for.
So there's, go ahead. There's a central mass planning,
Regional planning.
regional
Commission.
planning, I can never get it right. They're like a regional planning organization that oversees like about 40 towns in central mass. And so like each each participant town has two reps from each town that go to this thing. And like this organization can give you assistance with planning, mainly transportation focused and
Transportation, economic
Yeah,
development, they do a lot of data collection.
yeah.
But I think Steve and Perna go, and you have to like attend at least 2 meetings, and then you get like access to their local technical assistance ones.
This is probably just new technology for me.
This, because there was some participation by them when you guys did Centec, right? So,
Yes,
there's something, right?
yeah, we usually rely heavily on CMRPC for their data, they
The data.
love data.
I just, you know, how, if there was some sort of opportunity that we should leverage to get stuff from them to help us with whatever it is that we're going to do, it's going to be awesome.
Do you have, Chris, have you already
Again, no.
allotted your technical assistance dollars from CMRPC?
Not all of them. I've looked back, we use some of them for trail mapping. But I've looked back. How many we have left for this year.
So that might be an option.
Thinking of where to get some bucks and get some help and.
Sorry. I'm just like, I think that's as big as I can get it. I apologize.
Well, you put it up there, and I pull it up on mine.
I'll kind of read through, so,
You can read that? That's impressive. That is.
I just can't read it, it's right in front of me, I can read it, so.
yeah, so this is, the table of the implementation plan. It breaks it down into goals and then policy actions. So this first one, the goal is strengthen and preserve Shrewsbury's town center, with a policy of promote the town center as a pedestrian-friendly shopping and service area and a neighborhood gathering place. The SDC-related task under that is to explore the interest in developing a business association and the feasibility of an independent organization that promotes the town center as a cultural center for Shrewsbury. And that was a short-term goal to be done with planning economic development, the library, and the Shrewsbury Development Corporation. So that was actually the impetus for the Shrewsbury Town Center Association. And that's kind of what that process was born out of. They've obviously kind of excelled at what they do and really matured. We also, as part of this, I think have gone a little bit beyond it. We did the business improvement district feasibility study. So those are completed. We just evaluate next steps related to those plans. But so I would say that one I think is largely complete at this stage. So goal, so the ED1, so economic development one is to create an economic development strategic plan. So kind of what we were talking about earlier, one of the main things that we're doing. The policy one of that is to continue to revisit the town's short and midterm economic strategies
focusing both on increasing tax base and building a diverse and durable employment base. Suggests that we conduct an annual economic development strategic planning process and develop a coherent economic development vision. So I think that's, to that point of having that visioning session will be important, as well as, to this group, but also to the townwide economic plan. So that is to be done in tandem with Shrewsbury Development Corporation, planning economic development, and I actually do not know who BOX is. So I'll have to look that up.
Maybe it was supposed to be BOS and it was supposed to select.
Oh, I bet
I'm
you're
gonna-
right. I bet you're right.
My Matlock on there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
This is why you're president.
Right.
so, also looking to enlist participation from local businesses, the business associations that are active in Shrewsbury, and nonprofit employers as well. So I don't think we've done, significant outreach other than working with the business associations, but that would be something that we can perhaps look at, what the next steps that our office can undertake, or is there some kind of a way SDC gets involved to kind of engage with businesses through, a forum or something. And then identify business retention and business attraction priorities. That's one of the key items that we put in the townwide economic plan scope. So the plan will hopefully do that.
Can I ask a question? Yeah. Do you guys, like your office, do you guys do that currently? Do you have like a playbook that you do that with now?
In terms of like outreach.
Yeah, like recruitment and outreach. and
No,
retention.
really, I mean, that's something that I think we've been kind of looking to really build our capacity so that we can do more meaningful efforts. Primarily our activities for economic development right now are around kind of tracking and monitoring. We don't do a lot of active outreach and retention. We did programs like the facade grant program. We do vacant industrial, commercial property inventory list that we'll actually reach out to. We try to update that, and you want to reach out to people on there and also find other people that have vacant space to list. That helps when we get contacted by people looking to locate in Shrewsbury. But yes, it's mostly monitoring and grants when we can cobble them together has been the bulk of what we've been doing.
Is there any coordination with the Corridor 9 Chamber on some of that outreach stuff?
We go to the meetings for, actually, we haven't attended the chamber, but we do the 495 Metro West. But we can look at expanding into some of the other.
Just wondering if there's a partnership there that could be further considered, if someone from the chambers just, if they're talking to potential businesses that are already here, they might have a lead on like, oh, they're looking for expansion opportunities, or they want to move out of Norfolk. Oh, don't move. Let's talk.
Right.
Just trying to kind of market the town a little bit more using the chamber.
Use what's already in existence instead of trying to create from scratch. It's going to get us farther faster.
Yeah.
Also, this might be a very basic question, but how do you find out what the current status is? Meaning, what businesses are currently thriving, what's not? What are the current? How does the zoning look? Do we need to know all of these things in order to work through economic development?
Yeah, I think those are all important things to know. I think that, hopefully this economic plan will shine some more light on that. I think primarily, we have seen some of the, part of the town center rezoning activities that was done in 2019 was based off of some of the challenges that businesses in that location were telling us. Needing the flexibility for parking and things like that. So, setbacks and some of our kind of signage regulations. So we try to really kind of modernize our zoning for the town center to encourage new development and new investment in existing areas. So, but again, we've primarily just been doing more monitoring. We haven't really been able to get into some more active economic development. But is the overall thing.
Not trying to put more stuff on your plate, Chris, but just as an idea, I'm trying to think, it was like maybe a year or so ago, town of Grafton did like a outreach program that they reached out to businesses, developers, real estate, in the area and invited them to come to like just a quick little, hey, we're Grafton. And we have like, we have a couple of property owners here that would love to talk to you about, like, this is a development that they have going here. This is a development they have going here. How can we get you to work together?
Isn't Westboro doing that? Like, they just did it, or they're doing it like next week, or
Tomorrow they're doing a Westboro Economic Development
is that what,
Summit.
is that what the, it's, yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
it.
talking about like new things going on, tax
Yeah,
incentives
it's like an
that town
update, but it's
has.
also got a little bit of a dog and pony aspect to it, it sounded like,
Yeah.
so.
So it's just
Yeah.
trying to identify some of those key parcels that the town wants to see developed for a commercial use. And then I guess it would be like, then you approach the property owner and say, hey, how are you doing with your marketing? Like,
Yeah.
let's talk about how we can.
It would be nice to pick like 5 parcels, like top line, whatever. And can we do that at the same time as this master plan or this RFP is going on? But be nice to ID kind of the big 3, the big 5, whatever, and market the crap.
I would imagine that
You do
sounds-
this for a living, but like in some sort of collected town aspect kind of way, and be like, it's the bridge parcel that everybody wants to burn to the ground over by, White City. And it's the corner across their market basket, and it's this, and these are the top 5 opportunities.
Well,
Let's have a dog and
and
pony.
usually on all of those, like, they have information on most of
You
them,
probably-
what's going on, who's doing things, who's looking at it, who's not looking
Yeah.
at it, and, like, insight that's valuable on probably most
There's
of
that
them.
and.
Vacant spaces, like like why things like Centec and stuff, vacancy, like,
I mean, is that a useful charter for us or whatever of like, we pick 3 or 5 and say, these are the main opportunities in town. This is what the town would like to see that would be advantageous to the community. And by the way, we also you would qualify for X, Y, and Z grant money or these programs or this assistance.
I think
well,
you'll,
like what we do with the Strand, it might be in like what we do with the WPDC all the time, just preload like
Package it
grants
up.
and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Put
Like that's
together a
why
package and go
half
sell it.
the sites that we work on together, like you're able to get stuff done is because you guys go in and, take environmental, do all
Tee it
stuff,
up.
like
Yeah.
tee it up. So then that way it's like,
Yeah.
here, we'll give it to you on a silver platter.
Yeah.
Right? You
but I
know?
think the identification of some of those properties, I think some of those properties will start to rise to the top when you're doing some of this analysis.
Was there, I didn't want to
That's
muddy the
so-
waters
so
by
much.
going off into left
Yeah.
field. It's that they're.
I
looking
just
at this
think
way,
like that
but-
might be something to consider.
So I was involved in the Grafton outreach as the planner at the time when they did that. It was a great program.
That Tufts,
It was at Tufts, yeah.
nice little
So,
luncheon.
yeah, so
Did
set
it
up,
yield?
it was set up
Like,
by
did
their,
it-
it did. It was set up by their economic development coordinator, John Allen. And really what it was, they had a parcel specifically they knew they wanted to get, it was town owned, but they were looking to get it developed. And so really all they did was, it was a kind of a good process. What they did is they reached out to a number of interested kind of developers or people in that space. And they just asked them if they would present on what they do to the group. And so they did, a modest little lunch with Tufts and, got like a little bit of.
I'll get a better caterer.
Yeah. So I thought the pumpkin soup was a little over the top.
I was gonna say.
That's a swing for the fences on pumpkin soup.
But it was
Very
good, yeah.
distinct.
So they did that and they got everyone in a room together.
Mhm.
Each person had, I think it was 15 minutes to present on just what they're doing. And then it was left they left an hour of just kind of meet and greet, and what it was, you now have all these interested people in that space in a room together, and they started to talk, and things started to happen, and I believe, you know, they had mass development. It was a mass development parcel, and I don't know exactly. I haven't followed back up to see where they are, but I believe they did get a couple interested developers, and started to get a lot of momentum on those parcels. So I'm happy to reach out and see where they're at and get an update on that. And I think that is one of my pet projects I'd like to run at some point. Was I was seeing an annual, even if you don't have a parcel identified, just doing an annual economic development like forum where we can invite, you know, GFI or, you know, some of the other groups, you know, Prologis, doing UPX, and just have them come in and talk about their project or talk about their company and what they do, and just make the space for people to mingle and have that conversation and see what comes of it. So, you know, doing it annually, I don't think would be too onerous. So that would be something that we could manage, if this group is interested in doing some of that, sponsoring it.
Mel, do you go to stuff like that? Would you go to something like that wearing your Mel?
I think we would, you know, but I mean, like I think of Shrewsbury, and you know, we talk about the same parcels, and we know the issue, and we know the owners, and we know the roadblocks, and you know.
On that note, I was kind of thinking like, and you see it in a lot of areas where they're identifying parcels, but I wonder if like trying to identify tenants and businesses and stuff like that, either for retention or like look who's growing in the area, right? And so if, you know, I'll pick UMass because we do all of their leasing and they're expanding to Shrewsbury, right? But you see like a business like that, how do you target them and say like, how can we get you to come into town, and then look at those parcels, right? Like that might be, I mean, it's essentially the same thing, but a different way.
It's
to do
doing it backwards, not backwards, but.
Right.
It's
Because then also, right, is you have some group that's looking, and then you go to these reluctant property owners and say, I have a deal for you now, right? Rather than trying to fish it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea. I was actually thinking about this before this meeting, like my Moby Dick is the center of town, right? That building.
Yeah.
They're like someone other than me, because I've talked to them several times. Be like, hey, look, we're the Shrewsbury Development Corp. How can we help you? Right? Like, what's the obstacle? Like, you know, I know they think, you know, this building department, you know, putting roadblocks up, but you know, what is the issue, right? Is it money? Is it this? Is that? Because we can get you money, we can get you a partner and develop it. We can, you know, maybe you know, a mediator with the town in the building department.
Are you talking about the VIA building?
He's talking,
Yeah,
no,
the
he's,
VIA, the Michi's building.
yeah, he's
Exactly.
talking about.
Yeah, I toured through that like a
That's
month
exactly
ago
what.
with a client. It's just,
You can do this.
it needs so much work.
He knows you and he knows me, so I have a
They
conflict
raise
of
you?
interest. I've dealt with him, cause, Town Center Association, we tried to like, he joined the group and came to a few meetings, and we're like, all right, man, like, what do you need? Like, what can we help make happen so this happens? And then he just took all the shortcuts and didn't listen to Patty, and then started blaming everybody in sight, and the group got dragged into that too, and it was like, well, we're not gonna go tell the building department not to do their job, dude. Like, what do you think this is?
And
Like,
because he cut all the corners, so I would look through it like a month or two ago because he's shopping it, trying to sell it. But he's underwater because now has had to do it twice, and he's still not anywhere close to done. And so it's like the numbers he's asking are just like my client who's going to buy it owns buildings in town and is a builder. And so he's like, I can do it cheaper than anyone. And he's like, the numbers aren't even close to making sense. So he's just, I think, trying to get his
I feel like you
money
need to
out.
start a support group, because there's a lot of you now in the same group that feel that way.
What was the number when you toured it?
He like 3.5, I think
Yeah.
it was the like, oh, you could get to 3.5. Then he's, of course, it's like, but each apartment can lease for $3,500. And yeah, my client's like, yeah, but I have to build 12 bathrooms in here, and you know, the sprinkler system's still messed up, and the floors aren't even, you know, there's so many problems. It's very bad. So anyway, it's not really that,
Why do you think he's underwater though?
because he's had to do the construction twice.
He can't be underwater because he'd be trying to sell it if he was underwater.
He's trying to sell it though. But
But
for
no,
a big
no,
number.
Yeah, but doesn't he get enough rent from the bank to offset?
Yes, well, so I don't,
The loan, I mean, isn't that,
because the thing is like now he's kind of stalled in the build out because I think he's at a point, maybe not underwater, but
is
now
that a holding?
yeah, he's not gonna be able to make the return on the investment that he needs to make to finish it. I think it's a better way to put it. And so it doesn't make sense for him to, based on what he's put in, I mean, he paid, I think 2 or
Did he
something,
even pay?
not even 2, 1.5.
No, I thought it'd be like 800 grand.
It was like.
But he also bought the
crazy
bank
low.
with it.
Yeah, I thought the whole
No,
thing
I think it was real, I mean, there's a
thought it
record
was-
somewhere, but it was ridiculously low.
Whatever.
Anyways,
point
whatever, the
someone-
point is that, oh my god, anyways, but there's a couple of those in town, nothing more egregious than that,
Dave, right, not the other guy. Weinstein.
No, because he hired this residential broker out of Boston to list it.
So it's not Castaneda anymore?
maybe your sign could come
Yeah.
off. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, hold on. Well, so she's gonna handle the residential leasing once the apartments are done. That's what I told
And he doesn't have the money.
So I don't know that he may or may not have the money to finish it, but the sense I got from all of it was please get me out of it.
Yeah, but you won't take it.
But yeah, so if someone says, hey, let me give you, my client was like, I'll give you 2.5 million, and you'll still make $700,000 on what you put into it, figuring he's probably put a couple $100 a foot into the building at this point, and still it's like, well, no, it's a Shrewsbury.
You said no to 2.5?
Yeah, they're not even there.
Oh, so like, there's no way to get rid of it.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
no, he's-
I went to go, I was in the 2, I was less, I was like 1.8-ish or 2.
Well, so when we ran the numbers, we were like at 2, and we're like, but yeah.
I live here and I'll give you another $500,000.
Yeah, well, my client owns buildings around the center of town and stuff, so he's like, all right, I'll do it because he's a builder, like I could do it cheaper, so whatever, but yeah, just nowhere close.
It's not Joe, is it Joe? Was he trying? That was, yeah.
I do all Joe's real estate,
The guy that
Custis.
Shrewsbury Town Center.
remodel works.
Oh, Joe,
Emily's
that
interior,
Joe.
yeah,
Oh.
I do all of Joe's stuff.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, all right, well,
There might be opportunity to try to afford the underutilized property grant, but the crux of that is that it does come with ownership. I think you got that 10-year ownership or something like that to get the funding. But I've been to that idea of like structuring deals and then, get a couple million of that and maybe that moves. Still
make it hurt.
But, yeah.
I mean, you get 1,000 people kicking $1,000 a piece to raise $1 million. But honestly, I mean, I'd kick it up.
I would just,
Everyone,
just
yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Just to
have a
make him
developer.
leave so it gets done.
Yeah.
Well, to be very blunt, seems like a while ago, it should have been made clear that it was going to start becoming very costly for him to retain this building from a violation standpoint, just
So,
to light him up.
As far as I can tell from his loan, I mean, if M&T and Amici's control his loan, right? So he's not
Exactly,
putting
that's
any money into the building. So
Exactly.
he's gonna lose one of those leases from the.
That was what, and.
Well, so the M&T is a land lease too, so
Yeah.
so they own the building, and so it's like a 40 or 50-year land lease.
But it just got renewed though.
Yeah,
Remember,
so
it came up
it's
just
all
a couple
options
years
now.
ago.
Oh, did
and
it just
was-
come up?
It just came up because that's when it was almost like too late to know about it. And Mary Beth was like, hold on, wait a minute. Like, it was like 2 weeks out and it was like, can you make the bank not want to stay? Cause that's when it cut off his money, cut off his oxygen.
Yeah, and who goes in that bank? Is anyone?
My
Nobody
mother,
goes into any.
my
banks
mother
anymore, but they still pay
and my
stupid
father.
amounts of money.
my parents go in that bank so much that the M&T manager, who I've never seen in my life, came to the STCA mixer a year ago and was like, you look so familiar. I'm like, I've never seen you in my life. She's like, I know your parents. And I'm like, oh my
So your
God.
parents brought it wrong.
They like, yes, exactly. I'm glad you put a finger on this too. I'm going to tell them to stop going there. They're the last people. They'll get cash
Yeah,
out.
they're-
I'm telling you. Anyways, sorry. I digress. All right, so.
But anyway, I
So,
agree. The
yeah.
question was to me, would I
Yes.
go to something like that? And I mean, I would go to something like that, but again, we all know the issue, so I don't know, who's gotta be more of a facilitator, not just, come and meet me.
Yeah.
I know you who we are, I don't need
Yeah.
to, just let's do a deal.
Yeah, no, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
You know, I don't need pumpkin soup, maybe some hummus, but
That's fair. I think I think the key to that kind of a forum, barring having a property. Obviously having a property would be nice, but I think we can also put together something like, an interesting speaker. I also think of, the early days of SDCA. Kristen Lass brought in the Crompton Collective in Worcester and just kind of, brought that and invited, town center business owners and just had them talk about that process, give a small presentation, and those kinds of things I think generate just that space for, the side conversations and the
Your germination.
to make things happen. So I figured he put it on 6. I think so. Kind of skip ahead here a little bit. Because I think so. This is also, I think, largely completed. So looking at reinvigorating the SDC to provide leadership and support for townwide economic development policy and initiatives. The responsibilities could include the following. So I think this is where we kind of want to look at for our visioning session. And so I'll leave those for now, but we can take a look at those. And I think that primarily is between PED and SDC. So I think we'll do that visioning session. We can go through these in more detail. And then monitor the town's progress on short-term, long-term economic goals, which I think is similar to that. Bio-ready status, we are platinum level already, so that's 100% complete. So that's another accomplishment, that we did get that bio-ready status.
You get anything out of that?
Trophy. You talking about like medals?
I have
Pretty much
personal
a trophy.
opinions about MassEcon, but I'm just wondering if you get anything, if you see anything that pops.
I think it's mainly a marketing tool. We did include that, so we did a Site Selector magazine ad that I think I threw in the folder as well. So we just highlight that we're a bio-ready platinum. I think there is some kind of fiscal benefits to that, or grant opportunity. I'm not sure, but to be honest, I haven't really been involved in that space too deeply.
That might be another entity to reach out to, just someone from MassEcon. Just be like, hey, we're here. We need to get this designation with you. What you doing for me?
Yeah.
How do we compare with neighboring towns in terms of business taxes and all of those? Do we have like, do we have?
I mean, we're a lot better than Worcester. I think we're better than Westboro on the mill rate.
Yeah, we have the single rate system, the single rate. I don't know exactly how that compares to other, but I do know that we're competitive. We're certainly competitive with the residential end of things, but commercial. I know we're competitive. I don't know exactly which companies.
We're definitely competitive with the commercial side of things. Just a quick question. How does this specifically relate to?
So that's the same. It's just instead of having a description.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It essentially supplants it with that percentage complete. So that's just kind of how we try to track this to see how far along. Those numbers are pretty arbitrary, just kind of based on what we.
So does that mean, because that's what I thought, but I had one question here. Did we already pass 1.2? Like the Centec promotional material thing?
So this needs to be like just updated, right? Because has this been updated? This is like the original document, so it hasn't updated for current.
Yeah, so each of those, those codes, the ED1,
Yeah.
whatever, they correspond over here. So economic development 1.1A.
Yeah, so it says that, so what's our involvement and role in Centec promotional materials and stuff like that? Like I was trying to figure out what that was.
So the Shrewsbury Development Corporation did, when it was just ad site,
Right.
we did all the marketing for that, developed it, sent it out. I think there's a partnership, however, there were some partnerships that we did those materials out. That was outside
But
of
is it
that.
our responsibility to still be
Yeah.
doing
No, for
that?
marketing, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah,
I mean,
For
We hired-
Centec North though?
Oh, not
There's no
north, sorry,
marketing for
sorry,
Centec
not
East
north.
or Centec.
I think when it was just, it was the Allen property at the time.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because
We
it says
hired- we hired
investment guys and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Wayne Spiegel. Was he with Cushman?
No, he's with Collier.
Collier.
Good luck. Good luck.
Yes,
So
Was it him? Yeah,
yes,
it was him.
yes.
what is the current
Yeah.
status then of the Centec property? They're still available?
Yeah, there's vacancy.
Okay. And that's not on us to be promoting and.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's
So
what I'm
is
saying.
this
Should that
saying
be on
we're
that
putting-
list anymore? Is that, should
no,
that just get
that
taken
was
off?
just listing that we've done that as part of that.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what it built out.
Oh,
So,
okay.
okay, so is it on you or is it on us? Again, thank you, Mel, for this, that this needs to be updated to like current status?
Yeah, so that's why I was just kind of running through and starting to update it. I didn't do a deep dive
Oh,
on
okay.
it. So
All right, just making sure that like, we were supposed to be promoting, okay, got it.
Yeah, I think, so which one was it?
That was
1.2.
1.2E.
Yeah, so so that one specifically is assist the board of selectmen, now select board, and town staff with marketing and promotions for Shrewsbury as a desirable place to do business. So that's where just listing some of the things that we've done with Centec. We did the site selector magazine, which we can do again if we want, but I mean, have mixed opinions on without a
One
parcel.
thing we could do, and I mean, that might just be totally unnecessary, but since now you're at a stage where the project was completed and it was built, was there any merit or reason to do some sort of like town success story on that to try and build some legs for the committee, right? Like especially if we're trying to build momentum, you know, show that we can fight in our weight class and say,
Mhm.
hey, we did
Yeah.
this. Just like, whether it's a
Yep.
flyer or something
Chapter
else.
1 and the next.
Because then
The Empire
we
Strikes
use
Back.
that when we're talking to Steve about the site on the Worcester Sand and Gravel or whatever, be like, yeah, we can find whatever, you know, like.
But
Yeah.
also,
Well,
like,
exactly,
that
you
should be
don't-
done in coordination with corporate.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
You know, I mean,
The developer.
the developer.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking.
They are, they have, you know.
Right,
some
I totally
skill
agree.
In terms of trying to like.
And they would probably love to track material since they have a bunch of vacancies,
Yeah.
so they could probably foot the bill, I would guess, on pushing something like that out.
No, I'd be happy to. Yeah, but I think we did some, local outreach on that. I know we have the webpage for the project. Not that many people go to these places, but the webpage and our economic development newsletter, but
But like I had contacts at like, the New England Real Estate Journal and, the Metro West Daily and stuff like that. And so like, we could pump something like that out and, still have it.
So what is the biggest economic challenge in Shrewsbury? Do we know
Heck
that?
of a question.
Yeah.
Chris?
no, I think that's part of what we're looking at to create with the economic plan. Some of the challenges that we've seen, I guess it depends on the scale. If we're looking at overall, some of the challenges that we've identified, transportation line is that we lack north-south routes. We have all east-west, but there's not a lot of great north-south routes. It's really, really a lot of ways that you can solve that without huge kind of projects. So
Yeah,
which
let's.
certainly we're not.
Yeah,
interested
I've
in,
seen
but-
this movie and it doesn't turn out well.
So that's one of the transportation challenges that we've noticed in terms of businesses, town center, that things where parking was noted as a major concern that we've been looking to address. And diving into that more specifically, it was really the relationship between private and public parking, that we lack public parking or overpark in relation to private parking. So people that kind of drive around and the parking spaces are there, they just have to.
Whatever happened to the discussion about a shared parking agreement?
We have them. We have boilerplate agreements. We always kind of encourage using them. I think we've had mixed success. I think people tend to, rely on the existing handshake agreements that are in place for the parking in the center of town, and rather than formalizing them.
What's the biggest parcels of land in Shrewsbury right now?
I will very soon have a map of that. We're actually doing a build-out analysis, an updated build-out analysis with CMRPC, looking at, inventorying both town-owned land and private property for, developability. And it's a twofold effort, looking at both open space acquisition, potential and affordable housing, potential.
Like ProLogic went down to Grafton and obviously took that whole area.
Yeah, they had a ton of it. I don't know that we have any parcels like that.
The Bill Benzie property,
Yeah.
at the Boylston border.
Right.
Seen some mixed-use development, concepts there, but nothing.
Why, when you're doing this analysis, why didn't?
Which one's actually been now?
I think it's the one.
Just
the-
open
the-
space and
When
housing.
you're going up one
Why didn't
forty,
we
you're
look
about
at
to cross
commercial?
over to.
Is that the land conversion or just?
It was just, we were looking at,
Yeah, well, that's a little house.
house in Red
Oh,
Four
yeah.
parcels.
Sure, no, I get that, but
Oh,
is
really?
there a way to modify it too, or to include commercial industrial developments?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or redevelopment.
That overlap with what our RFP's looking at. You've already got one framework going, you need to add one more element to it, and starting over here with blank.
I'm just,
I
I'm just
might
thinking,
not be
like,
understanding that correctly.
I don't think that you're having a hard time in town finding people that are like, it seems that there's a decent amount of interest in housing and housing developments. There's not a great deal of interest in commercial, industrial. If there is a way, we have to say, like, if you can point to something, say, these are the available parcels, and this is what the town would vision for these parcels, rather than like a developer coming in and be like,
Yeah.
this is what I want to do.
Instead of playing D,
Does
instead of
it
playing
have a
D,
fire?
yeah, instead of playing defense, play offense.
That address, it's right up, you go up one drive. Up 140, yeah, away to the Boylston line. So we have that vacant industrial property list that we maintain, but to that point, then it has to get that plugged into GIS. And do some analysis that way.
Is it mainly on Route 20 and the larger pieces of property?
The larger pieces of property, no, those are primarily, it really is kind of North Shrewsbury and then in between the Route 9, Route 20.
Corridor.
Corridors, yeah.
And does that does that help you in any way?
Yeah, so that, I mean, there's an interest in being competitive in that biotech space. The major impetus for the town is it's, high paying jobs, and the other benefit is that they typically require or have a lot of expensive equipment, and the assessors
Yeah.
base it on that rather than the.
That's really dried up. Right. By the time you'd agree the biotech.
Yeah.
No one's looking for that anymore.
Not, well, there's some activity, but it's basically entirely dried up. Yeah, like it's, I wouldn't say unequivocally no one, but because we are having some activity still around the UMass campus, but it's not another whooshy biologic 300,000 square foot user. And even like, I'm in the Metro West Life Science Network. And so I go to a ton of life science specific things, even like the incubator stuff and Natick and stuff. It's pretty dry.
And so
Well, the VC funds just dried up and everything went belly up. I mean, like, Marcus Partners, they did a deal in Somerville. They signed a lease with a tenant for like 400,000 square feet. When they signed the lease, the tenant was worth 12 billion, and they were supposed to take occupancy in August, and the tenant was worth 1 billion and looking to sublet the entire 400,000 square feet.
Oh, wow.
And so these people
Because
are
they
just,
didn't get something approved.
well, no, like the company's value just tanked. I mean, it was a $12 billion company, and then they're worth like $1 billion. And just
That's because they didn't
downside.
get their product. approved
Exactly.
or
Yeah,
passed
they
or
just
whatever.
totally tanked. And so I think a lot of people are staying away from that stuff right now.
And wasn't there a special election? Sorry, that's what I was trying to read recently on the MBTA zoning. And how does that impact, like increase the number of housing, residential?
No, so the MBTA housing, there's no requirement to build under that. Our strategy was primarily to zone where we had existing, housing units or, where, housing was already proposed to be developed through the 40B process. So we knew that those parcels were going to be developed already as higher density housing. So that was our way of, overlaying existing or proposed housing. So other than what was on the books, we're anticipating, only a modest increase over those conditions. And even that, I think it's likely that we'll see less, than what is on them.
Is it one of the ones that I think has industrial building on it, the land? I mean, up 140, that's the site you were talking
Oh, the
about.
Lovenzi. Yeah, it's a, it's just a big over.
Two. So Michelle's,
Because like this is separate.
rerunning for her spot. Michelle Conlon, her spot, she's
So
gonna
like
be
this is 290, 140.
she is,
Oh, yeah.
she just finished her
Oh,
first
this
term, so
thing?
she's running for reelection for her spot, and then Don Samuel is stepping down, so his seat is open. And that's what you're
And then Brian got, is he
calling.
all for either
Brian
one?
guy. What about him?
Can you go for either one or you have to run for a specific one?
No, you just run. Yeah,
It's just open.
So other than those two, who's running?
I don't know Brian. Brian, good.
Hardly.
What?
Hardly.
Hardly.
Hardly, Haugli, I think.
Just Gene.
So one I was thinking that's all 10 acres, but right across 290. It's 100. So,
Gotcha. That's behind FedEx there.
yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to go through all of these tonight, but just something that, as we look at those, probably focusing more on the, those tasks and what we can do. And I'm happy to kind of circle back on this. I think just keeping this as an item, and I think we had a lot of good discussion tonight. Just continuing that conversation, lead up to the master plan. We'll be doing that process of really saying where we are, and where we're gonna go. And we'll develop a similar, kind of implementation plan for the next 10 to 20 years.
so just kind of scroll through that and see what might see we can pick off of them.
Amazing.
What is it?
Oh, is it, so next item is, review and discuss future meeting schedule, agenda items and initiatives. So other than that vision session, is there anything that people want to see on there or?
Could I make the suggestion of whenever we select this consultant, I'm sure it's probably already on there, but maybe, I don't know if it should be as part of this or separate from, but the, business associations that are already existing, perhaps inviting them, like in saying, what are you looking for?
Do you want to, invite reps prior to that town
I don't know.
economic piece and just have them?
I don't know, I'm throwing that out there, I guess, as an option of, do you want to do that as part of the visioning, or do you want to invite them to be like, hey, listen, we're just having an informal conversation, from a business association perspective, what would you be looking for from the town?
Yeah.
And how can we maybe help you? Not making any promises, but like, let's at least open a dialogue.
Just,
Yeah.
yeah,
To be-
a think meeting.
And then that
engaging.
could, then perhaps that could be another, impetus for them to be a little bit more active in this, RFP process. Just,
No, I think that's a good idea. I think, yeah, I'm happy to reach out and see if they would, do that. I think it might be useful if we can get them at the same meeting together, to talk about that. But it's non-gracefully, I think I've seen them compete, Lakeway Business and SDCA sometimes compete for some things.
We're the better dancers.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them go.
So,
Oh, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Actually, we've never, at least, we've never really interacted with them.
no, it's,
They've kind of,
as we do initiatives for each, it's kind of been like, saying like, why is town doing that? Focus on town center, and we've gotten similar sentiments when we do Lakeway Business stuff.
so I guess we would have to try and couch it as like, listen, that we're generally speaking, here,
No,
we're not like,
Yeah, this is where I would think that we would put them in the room together, and hash out what are those mutual objectives.
It's
we wanna do.
synergy.
There's, I'm sure, overlap between them. But in very different spaces. One is the town center, and one is, you know,
Right.
Route 9,
It's
but
very clear, like, the town center isn't looking for Whole Foods.
exactly.
You know,
One's an apple,
and-
one's completely very much an
and-
orange, so like.
You know, when you look to go on Sam Adams' Spag distribution center
Oh,
site,
God, Can we put any of it?
would never go in the center
That's
of
you,
town.
so you have wine stock, I
He wants
have
25, he wants 25 million for it now.
That's it.
Million an acre.
that's it.
that. Oh, my God. What are
You'd only
these
need to
people
get like
smoking?
$50 triple net.
Remember when we clear cut that?
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
no,
not
I
going back
think
now.
that,
It's been that long.
Oh,
Grows fast.
yeah, I think that putting them in a room together and finding those mutual objectives will help us, and I see the SDCs. I see the SDC taking more of a general role in terms of supporting both of them, almost like an umbrella group, saying, you know, where our office kind of helps support each of them together as like staff support, and then having that similar relationship from the SDC separate from the town.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree with that.
He's, I think in his 70s.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah. His family was Big D Supermarkets.
You know that's what I was saying, right?
no,
That
really?
changed
Yeah,
it.
he changed his name because he got screwed so many times.
No.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a joke.
No,
That's true. Oh, my God.
that is true.
I can't.
I was crazy.
anything else?
Is there an industrial association? I know that we have the lake, we have the center. I mean, if there's any, you know, like Charles River, what are they doing? Are they kind of
There is
not? They probably have a hell of a lot, I mean, they have a lot of space there.
Yeah.
But it is the idea is to get more things in. And we work with Charles River to go to corporations, to the corporate, say, hey, bring more stuff to Shrewsbury because we have this.
Yeah, there's not an existing industrial association, it's something that we could look at. There has been some discussion about taking a similar, like my business, Shrewsbury Town Center, and looking at Route 20 and trying to develop a Route 20 kind of corridor association or something.
I
feel like this-
entities that would you like get a,
But I also feel like had some like watered it down and it would spark more infighting. Like, why can the Economic Development Committee or Shrewsbury Development Corp not just kind of have all of that? I don't know.
get everybody grow in one direction?
Yeah.
Creating more mini groups.
Exactly. Yeah, like creating factions to. I don't know.
Yeah. More smarter, not bigger.
Any other items that you want to throw on moving forward?
Did you prepare a speech for your presidency?
I would like to thank the Academy, and my fellow nominees,
Did a hell of a job today. Hell of a job.
for everyone who disqualified themselves. And our new member who thought she just got walked in and was like, what?
Now the press.
I will.
Yeah, first and last meeting, she's like,
Yeah,
"Okay, that's it
exactly.
again."
And we never saw her again.
I was supposed to be sick today.
I know, exactly.
That's right.
Building on board member comment.
I guess we will all learn as we go. Yay, and I move to adjourn the meeting. Do I do that?
No, you have to.
Damn
You have to
it,
I
call
will
for
make
it.
that motion.
You have to call for
I will
someone.
make that motion.
Thank you.
I will second.
All in favor, jump in here. All in favor, say aye, aye.
Aye.
Nay, no nays. Okay. Okay, this is,
So next meeting will be,
That will be.
So,
March,
Sam owned what she just bought it before 80 Street and bought it.
Oh, is that right? Oh, I didn't realize that.
March
Yeah.
10th.
So.
Yeah, right? Yeah, March 10th.
So,
March 10th.